Hello everyone, my name is Aubrey and today I have got for you guys a book haul. So in my last video I went in depth on why I haven't been posting as much on YouTube as of late and also why I haven't been reading as much. However, the fact that I haven't been reading sure has not stopped me from buying books. No, it has not. That's because reading books and buying books are two separate hobbies, folks. They're just completely their own separate things. So I have a lot of fun books to show you in this book haul. A lot of these are special editions, most of which I actually ordered last year and they've just finally come in. Book box books and the like. So it's it's a very pretty book haul and I'm really excited to show you everything that I have. I'm gonna get right into it and I'm gonna start with the thrifted books as always. And the first ones I have to show you I'm so excited about. I have several volumes of Amulet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 7. And I found them in hardcover, which was so fun. I had no idea that these were available in hardcover. Like I thought they just got published as paperbacks. So I found these at my local thrift store. I just got so excited. I bought all the ones that they had. So this is a super charming middle grade graphic novel series. We are following this brother and sister mostly, but also their mom. After a very traumatic event, they discover this magical amulet that will let them travel to this fantasy world. I've only read the first 2 volumes, but I really enjoyed them and I've been wanting to continue on with the series for a while, but I didn't own the rest of the series. If you like middle grade, especially whimsical middle grade, very magical middle grade, well, I say it's whimsical, but it's actually decently dark, which I think definitely appeals to like an older audience. Like I said, there is a decently traumatic thing that happens at the beginning, and I think a lot of the obstacles that the children are facing are like decently scary, especially with like frightening imagery and that kind of thing, but it definitely has that dash of whimsy and magic to it that I really love. So I can't wait to continue. Okay, next I have another really exciting find. I have Fireborn and Flamefall by Rosaria Munda, and I've got to be completely honest with you guys, I have no idea what the series is about. I just know that Elliot Brooks really loves it and she's been talking about it for a few years now. And so when I saw them both in hardcover, used for a really good price, I just decided to grab them. I'm going to assume they have something to do with dragons, but again, I am not entirely sure. But yes, really happy to have found these. And then lastly, of my thrifted books, at least I think this is the last one, I have Calicos War by James S.A. Corey. This is book 2 of the Expanse series, which is like this epic space opera series. I have book 1, I haven't read it. It is a series that I'm really looking forward to getting to one day, hopefully soon, but you know, I say that about like everything that I want to read, so realistically, who knows. But I was just really excited to find the second book in like new condition. It just looks like it's never really been read, and I love these floppy paperbacks, so I just wanted to grab it for a really good price. Okay, so next I'm going to go into the graphic novels that I have. For Christmas, my fiance got me Buffy the Vampire Slayer Hellmouth edition. He knows that I am a huge Buffy fan, so he got me this and Willow. And I've got to be honest, I don't know exactly where these fit into the overall Buffy universe, because I think that the Buffy universe is quite expansive in the graphic novels, so I'm not sure like where these fit, but I have been collecting some of those graphic novels and I am super happy to have these. I absolutely love the cover of Willow. I think it's stunning. This one collects the entire Hellmouth event, Hellmouth 1 through 5, Buffy the Vampire Slayer 8 through 12, and Angel 5 through 8. So yeah, again, I'm sorry, I'm not entirely sure what that means. And then Willow collects Buffy the Vampire Slayer Willow 1 through 5. Next, also from my fiance, I have Pharah Sector, which was written by N.K. Jemisin and the art is by Jamal Campbell. I was just intrigued by this because it's written by N.K. Jemisin, and I just want to own everything she's ever touched. This is set in the DC universe. I am not super familiar with this character, but nonetheless, I'm really, really excited to read this and see what N.K. Jemisin did. The art is absolutely stunning, and I have really, really been itching to pick this up. So I'm so glad that he bought this for me. So next, I have the next volume in Jim Henson's The Storyteller. This volume is Tricksters. I hauled the rest of these in an older book haul. These are basically little like short stories based on mythical creatures, which is so fun, and the inspiration is based on a television show that Jim Henson did back in the 80s. These have been really, really fun to collect, and there's actually a short story in here that was written by Jordan Ifueko, which is really cool. She's the author of Raybearer, which I've just been hearing fabulous things about. So I am really looking forward to checking this one out. And also I'll mention that every short story has a different author and a different artist, which is really, really cool. Next up, I have a book that I have just been dying to get ever since I saw it and knew that it was a thing, but I kept putting it off because, you know, graphic novels are kind of expensive. But I was feeling sad one day and we were at our local comic book shop, and I just decided that I was gonna buy it for myself because it is just so adorable. And it is The Tea Dragon Society by Katie O'Neill. Oh my god, it's so cute. So this is basically about a world where there are like little dragons, and you can make tea out of like the leaves and flowers that sprout out of the dragon's horns, and it just sounds so wholesome and adorable. The artwork is wholesome and adorable, and it's just everything that I want. I am literally going to start reading this tomorrow because I just finished Fruits Basket and I need something to cure my hangover, and I think this is going to be it. So yes, I absolutely cannot wait. Perfect for springtime too. I mean, just look at it. Look at it. Okay, the next three were all gifts from my fiance for Christmas. First up, I have Genji E2's Cat Diary, Yawn and Moo collector's edition. And I have been really wanting to get into Genji E2. I have Uzumaki sitting on my shelf, and I've been a little bit too afraid to pick it up. I wanted to read it over the fall during spooky season, but I don't know, I was like a little bit nervous to try to read it. But I feel like Junji Ito has really, really grown in popularity. I think a lot of people know who he is, so I'm definitely really intrigued. And every time we see his books in the bookstores, I always point them out. So he picked this up for me, which was so sweet, and it just looks totally bizarre, and I can't wait to read it, probably this fall. Master of Japanese horror manga, Junji Ito presents a series of hysterical tales chronicling his real-life trials and tribulations of becoming a cat owner. Next, I have Jim Henson's The Dark Crystal Artist Tribute, and this is an art book, and it's absolutely stunning. I am a huge fan of The Dark Crystal. I am really, really happy to have this for my collection, and the artwork is so stunning. I just absolutely love this world and all of the creatures and the characters, and just the whole like aesthetic look of it all is definitely a huge appeal for me, and was when I was a kid. So yeah, I absolutely love this. And I like that the artwork is really, really varied. All the styles are super interesting and different from one another. It's just, oh, it's so cool. And then lastly, for the graphic novels, I have another art book, and this is The Art of Goosebumps by Sarah Rodriguez with an introduction by R.L. Stine. And again, this is so fun. And this is something that I haven't really talked about on my channel very much, but my fiance and I have been collecting like the original Goosebump books in like the 90s covers. Anytime we go to a thrift store or a used bookstore, we scour and see if they have any copies that we don't already have. So we've had just so much fun collecting those over the last couple of years. So he got this for me, and it's got all of the art from like those original 90s covers, and they're just so fun and colorful, and they're so nostalgic, and I just absolutely love this. My favorites growing up were definitely The Haunted Mask, such a classic. The Blob Who Ate Everyone, and Welcome to Horrorland. I think those were the ones that I read the most times over and over and over again. Please let me know what your favorite Goosebump book was growing up. Okay, so now onto the books, and I think this first one is literally the only one that I have that isn't a special edition. It is Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Sue Lynn Tan, and I totally bought into the hype for this book. I've been seeing it everywhere. I think it's absolutely stunning, and I mistakenly went ahead and picked it up because I thought it was a standalone. For some reason, it just gave me very strong standalone vibes. It's not, it's a duology, but luckily the next book should be coming out early next year, and I will probably pick it up then, but for now I'm really happy to have it in my collection. It is a super gorgeous book. So this is an enthralling debut fantasy inspired by the legend of Chang-E, the Chinese moon goddess, in which a young woman's quest to free her mother sets her on a dangerous path and pits her against the most powerful immortal in the realm. I've also heard there's a bit of a romance in this, and it's just been getting a lot of buzz, a lot of really good reviews. It sounds very magical and like mythical folklore-esque, which is totally up my alley. So yeah, I mean, it just sounds amazing. Okay, I completely lied. I have 3 more books that are not special editions. They were hidden in a stack, but I just saw them and pulled them out. Okay, so first off, I have the Bone Shard Emperor by Andrea Stewart, and I bought this during the Barnes & Noble 50% off hardcover sale. This is the second book in the Drowning Empire trilogy. Literally just picked it up because it was 50% off. Again, I've just heard such good things about the series. It's getting tons of glowing reviews. The covers are stunning, so I just wanted to go ahead and invest in the second book. Next up, I have Sorrowland by Rivers Solomon. I picked this up again on that 50% off sale, and I got it because Books with Brittany really loved this, and I think it's like a horror fantasy. The tagline says, Sorrowland is a genre-bending work of gothic fiction. Here, monsters aren't just individuals, but entire nations. This is a searing, seminal book that marks the arrival of a bold, unignorable voice in American fiction. It sounds like the kind of book that is going to be a bit surreal and strange. So yeah, I picked up this. And then lastly, on that 50% off sale, I picked up Truth of the Divine by Lindsay Ellis. This is book 2 in her sci-fi series. I have heard really mixed things about Axiom's End, which is the first book. It's a alternate history, first contact with aliens sci-fi book. I just really love Lindsay Ellis and I want to support her. I will read the book eventually. I'm the kind of person who waits for a whole series to be out. For those of you who are new here, again, I really wanted to support her by buying her book. It was a really good price, and I am absolutely obsessed with these covers, which is a super valid reason to buy books, right? Okay, so now on to the special editions. I'm going to start with the Illumicrate monthly subscription books, and then I'll move on to like the series that I've bought because I have a few, so let's just get into it. The book for November was Little Thieves by Margaret Owen. This is an absolutely stunning book. It is a fairy tale retelling of The Goose Girl, which is a story that I actually have not read, but maybe I should. The back says, once upon a time, there was a beautiful, kind princess and her wicked maid. One day, the wicked maid stole the princess's face and with it her name, her betrothed, everything. The princess had to toil away as a servant while her maid lived like a queen. When the maid was caught, she died for her crimes, and the princess lived happily ever after, or that is how the story has been told. Now it's time for the wicked maid to tell her side of the story. So I am truly so excited to read this. I absolutely love fairy tales and fairy tale retellings, and I am just over the moon about this gorgeous edition. I feel like Illumicrate just knocks it out of the park every time. Then the book for December was A Marvelous Light by Freya Marski. And this just sounds so cute. I'm gonna read you the blurb on Goodreads. It says, Red, White, and Royal Blue meets Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell in debut author Freya Marski's A Marvelous Light. featuring an Edwardian England full of magic, contracts, and conspiracies. And then the top blurb up here says, mystery, magic, and murder. I don't know, this just sounds like it could be so fun. The edition came with this like plastic cover, which is really interesting. It's got stenciled edges, and overall it's just a very striking book. Okay, and then the book for January. Are you ready? Are you ready? This edition completely blew my mind. Like, I did not know what to expect, but it wasn't this. It just was not. We got This Woven Kingdom by Tahira Mafi, and it is just so gorgeous, so unexpected. It's a naked book. There's no dust jacket. It has all of this gorgeous foiling on it, stenciled edges, like it's got the whole treatment. My jaw just dropped all the way to the floor when I opened this up. It's so beautiful, and this was one of my top anticipated books of the year. I really loved the original Shatter Me trilogy by Tahira Mafi back in the day. I enjoyed it immensely. I have since sort of outgrown that series, which is okay. But I'm really excited about her new series. It sounds very magical. I'm sure it's going to have beautiful writing. I think this is a Persian-inspired fantasy, which is so cool because I don't think I've ever read a Persian-inspired fantasy. The back says, clashing empires, forbidden romance, and a long-forgotten queen destined to save her people. To all the world, Eliza is a disposable servant, not the long-lost heir to an ancient Jinn kingdom, forced to hide in plain sight. The crown prince has heard the prophecies foretelling the death of his king, but he could never have imagined that the servant girl with the strange eyes, the girl he couldn't put out of his mind, would one day uproot his kingdom and the world. So, I mean, it just sounds like a really fun, romantic, magical read, and I'm excited for it. I really am. And then the book for February is one that I have just finished recently, and it is A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. Again, this is just an absolutely gorgeous edition from Illumicrate, a totally redone cover. We've got some stenciled edges. The end papers are super gorgeous. It's got like some foiling on the front. It's just a really pretty book, and I absolutely loved this story. I can actually tell you what this one's about because I've read it. We're following this character named Jack Tamberlane, who has left his very magical, very mysterious home Isle of Cadence, and he has left to become a bard, to study music. And one day he is called home for a mysterious reason. And it turns out that he's been called home by his childhood enemy and now heiress to his clan of the East. And she has called him home because young girls on the Isle have started to go missing, and she needs Jack and his music to communicate with the spirits of the Isle to help figure out this mystery of where these girls have been going and what's been happening. I loved it. The writing is lovely. I especially just loved like the Isle itself, just the environment of the little spirits and everything. I'm sorry, this is not a wrap up. I'm not gonna go into it. I loved it, and I highly recommend it if you like very atmospheric fantasy worlds that have a deep root in like folklore and sort of fairy tale-ness. And then the book for March was Gallant by V.E. Schwab. And this is just such a sweet little edition that Illumicrate put out. I really love it. This has been getting a lot of mixed reviews, so I'm intrigued to read it myself and see how I feel about it. I've heard a couple of people say that this is like The Secret Garden meets Crimson Peaks, which I love The Secret Garden. Well, at least I love the film that I grew up with. The tagline for this one is, everything casts a shadow, even the world we live in. And as with every shadow, there is a place where it must touch, a seam where the shadow meets its source. And the inside flap says, 16-year-old Olivia Pryor is missing 3 things, a mother, a father, and a voice. Her mother vanished all at once, her father by degrees, and her voice was the thing she never had to start with. Her only companions are the ghouls she sees and her mother's journal, which captured a mind in turmoil. Yeah, I'm really intrigued to read this. I love that it has like illustrations throughout, and you know, the artwork on the chapter headers are really pretty. It just seems like it could be a fun gothic tale, kind of perfect for this time of year actually. So I have very recently also subscribed to 2 more book box subscriptions, which was not really something that like I planned to do, but when Fairy Loot announced their adult fantasy subscription box, I literally screamed out loud. I signed up for the waiting list the second I saw it. I was so excited. So we finally got our first book for the subscription, and it is The Cloud. I was just about to say The Cloud Atlas. That is not what this book is. The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. You have probably heard of this book. It is blowing up all over social media. Everyone's freaking out about this book, and I am just so intrigued. The back says 6 extraordinary magicians, 5 chances to win, and 1 secret society. So I think it has like a magical school setting, which could be really fun with like some dark academia elements. I'm not fully sure what to expect. I just know everyone's talking about this book, and I am super happy to have this very beautiful edition. This book is kind of a fun like phenomenon because it was self-published and then it just got so popular that it was picked up by a professional publishing house, which I just love that trend. I think that is so cool. Yeah, I'm really excited to check this out. Anyway, I absolutely love this edition, and I'm so excited that Fairy Loot is doing this new subscription box. Oh, it just fills me with so much joy. Okay, and then the second new subscription box that I decided to subscribe to is from The Broken Binding. And The Broken Binding is, I believe, based in New Zealand. I could be wrong, but they're doing this really cool thing where instead of like brand new SFF releases, they are releasing back catalog books. I feel like catalog is not the right word. Backlist books, older books that deserve, you know, hardcovers or special editions. They are printing them or reprinting them, which is just so cool, and I really wanted to be a part of it. So the way that the subscription works is that they will do an entire trilogy or series, and you get one of the books in that series every month. So this first month they are reprinting Joe Abercrombie's First Law trilogy in hardcover. I don't know if this had a hardcover release when it first came out, but as far as I know, it is not available in hardcover anymore. So they did this printing with the UK cover, and it's so cool. I just think this is such a neat thing to do, and like I said, I just really wanted to be a part of it. I can't wait to see what other series they decide to print. So yes, this has, you know, the gold foiling on the cover. It's got stenciled edges, foiling on the naked hardcover, and these cool end papers. I just really like it, and I'm excited to have the whole trilogy. I'm excited to finally read some Joe Abercrombie, which is something I've been meaning to do for a while. And yeah, I just think it's really fun. So I wanted to give them a shout out. Okay, next up I have Vespertine by oh my god. Next up, I have Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson, and this was a Fairy Loot edition. I think it went on sale sometime late last year, and they said that they would be putting out all of Margaret Rogerson's books in these beautiful cloth-bound, like, editions, which is really exciting. I don't know when those are supposed to be a thing, but that's what they said. I bought this edition because it's so pretty. It's got gold edges, it's got the bookmark, you know, the cloth bookmark, and I have just really been wanting to get into Margaret Rogerson's books. I've heard very mixed things about her books. So she has an Enchantment of Ravens and A Sorcery of Thorns, which have both been pretty popular here on BookTube, but again, both have gotten like very mixed reactions. However, I feel that they will appeal to me and I want to give them a try. But this is her newest book, and it's the first book in, I guess, a duology or a trilogy. The back of this says, "For a strange moment, I felt as though I were watching myself from afar, a lone cloaked figure cleaving through an ocean of the dead. The chant of Vespertine shook the ground like a drum beat. I could feel it in my bones." And now I guess let's just quickly try to get through all of the special edition series that I've picked up lately. First up, I have the Jade City Trilogy? That's not what it's called. What's it called? The Greenbone Saga. I knew that. I just forgot it. These were Illumicrate editions, and I've talked about this series a few times on my channel. I'm sure that you've heard of it. It has been absolutely everywhere. The tagline for this says, "Jade City is a gripping, Godfather-esque saga of intergenerational blood feuds, vicious politics, magic, and kung fu." So I've read about half of this book, and it is indeed like sort of a multi-generational family drama, and the magic system is basically like you wear jade, but only certain people can like harness Jade's power and be able to like control it, because otherwise you'll get the itches and you'll go mad. It's about these two kind of rival clans, but we're following, at least in this first book, we're only following one family. All the characters are very messed up and complex, and yeah, so far it's been an interesting book, a little slow but interesting, and I like the characters. I find them all very fascinating. Maybe not likable, but fascinating. We'll try to finish the series sometime this year. These editions are really gorgeous, as always. They are just naked cloth-bound books with some inlaid foiling and stenciled edges. Very shiny and pretty. Then I picked up the Winter Night Trilogy by Kristen Arden. These were Fairy Loot editions, completely redesigned covers for the series. They are so pretty, very like folk art inspired. I absolutely love them. They have these bright, colorful sprayed edges. And again, this is just like a well-loved series here on BookTube. This first book, The Bear and the Nightingale, was published a few years ago, and I just have not stopped hearing about it. It sounds very fairy tale-esque, which should be completely up my alley. The back says, "Fairy tales are sweet on winter nights, nothing more." And the inside says, "Beware the evil in the woods. In the village at the edge of the wilderness of northern Russia, winter lasts most of the year and snowdrifts grow taller than houses. Here, an elderly servant tells stories of sorcery, folklore, and the Winter King to the children of the family, tales of old magic frowned upon by the church. But for the young, wild Vasya, these are far more than just stories. She alone can see the house spirits that guard her home and sense the growing forces of dark magic in the woods." So yeah, I had really hoped to read this trilogy this past winter, but I was too sad. I was too sad to read, but hopefully next winter I will get to them. The vibes for these are just off the charts. Next up, I have the Illumicrate box set for The Song of Achilles and Cersei. And to be completely honest with you, I am utterly embarrassed that I bought these. I own both of these books already. Have I read either of them? No. No, I have not. Judge me all you want, because I am judging myself. Listen, they're so beautiful. And like, it's not just that they're beautiful. They are like exactly my style and aesthetic. Do you know what I mean? Like the dark green with the gold foiling. I'm weak. Okay, I'm weak. I wasn't gonna do it. I like really wasn't. I had talked myself down from buying them. When they went on sale, I was like, no, you already have those books. Like, you have pretty editions of those books. Like, you don't need those. And I was like, yes, brain, you're right. You're right. I definitely don't need those. And then they went on sale, and I fully expected them to just like sell out, and then the decision would be made for me, and it would just be like, oh man, they sold out. Like, I can't buy those. So sad. And then they didn't sell out. In fact, they may still be available on the Illumicrate website. Probably shouldn't put that in the video unless it's true. Future editing me. But yeah, so then Illumicrate kept like putting in their Instagram stories like still available. And I bought them. So here we are. I'm not going to go into these. They're Greek myth retellings. This one's about Achilles. This one's about Cersei. I'm sure you've heard of these books. This one has been going viral for like a while now. Yeah, I have nothing more to say about these. Okay, we're almost done here, folks. I have 2 more series to show you guys. Next is the not winter. I always want to say winter. It's not winter. The Winter's Curse Trilogy by Marie Rukowski. These were Illumicrate exclusive editions. I'm not going to lie, I was really drawn in by the art style and the naked hardcovers, which are absolutely stunning. This is like an older YA trilogy. I remember a lot of people talking about and loving this series back in the day. I don't hear too much about it anymore, but I love that Illumicrate and Fairy Loot and a lot of these box companies are like bringing some of these older series back to life and giving them a new paint job and all of that. I just think it's really cool and I like it. So I decided to pick these up. This was a series that just kind of passed me by. To be honest, like the original covers like didn't do a whole lot for me. It was just like a girl in a beautiful dress with like a dagger. I don't know, they just felt like very cliche covers for the time. I guess I was just afraid they would feel really generic, which I guess they still might. I haven't read these. So we're following Kestrel, who is this daughter of a very important general, and she sort of accidentally, not quite accidentally, but she sort of gets roped into this bidding war over a slave, and she ends up buying the slave. I think a romance blossoms from there. I don't know too much about it. I've actually heard like really good things about it. Some of my favorite like OG booktubers loved and continue to love this series, so I wanted to give it a try. Okay, and last but not least, we have the Diviners Quartet by Libbre. These were Fairy Loot editions. They went on sale sometime last year and they finally came in, and I just could not be happier with these. They are so beautiful. They are so true to like the original aesthetic of the original cover. I remember when the Diviners first came out and the original cover was so cool and I was so excited to read it. And then the second book got a cover change and it was terrible. Everyone hated it and everyone was so mad, and I don't know why they did that. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it really put me off of reading the series, because then with book 3, it got another cover change. And so I don't know, I guess I just lost a little bit of faith that the publishers were gonna do a good job with this series. And I just did not want to like invest in collecting the books if they were all gonna be different and have different, like completely different covers. So I was just waiting for them all to come out in paperback so I could have like a full cohesive, you know, set collection. And then Fairy Loot announced these, and they're gorgeous. I love how occult they feel. I love the black sprayed edges. Like they did such a nice job, and I cannot wait to read the series. It's 1920s New York City. It's flappers and follies, jazz and gin. It's after the war, but before the Depression. It's the opportunity to party like never before. Evie O'Neill moves from small town Ohio to the big, gleaming, glamorous city. This is her chance to show how modern and incredibly daring she can be, but she soon discovers that New York has a darker side. Young women are being murdered across the city in gruesome, calculated ways. New York City police can't solve these murders alone, and Evie has a secret that could help them. Her mysterious power is what chased her out of Ohio, but facing the knowledge of what she can do is essential in catching the killer, if he doesn't catch her first. I'm just so excited to finally read such a beloved series here on BookTube. Fairy Loot just knocked it out of the park with these. Okay, so that is it for this book haul. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.